Is today's action a sign of genuine investor fear for the future of the AI trade? Are we making too much of this? I just spoke to Jim Cramer in the last hour, and he was basically saying, Jensen tells me the truth. He's always told me the truth. So I don't know why we're making such a big deal.
Look, I think everyone who's involved with NVIDIA and AI, and certainly those companies, are very excited about what they're doing and think they're changing the world. They may, in fact, be changing the world. To what extent we've priced in euphoria across the entire space to a place where, especially in software, you had the group trading on an EV to revenues, not to earnings, but to revenues, probably north of 30 times before this pullback began. There's a lot of questions about monetization, even for some of the biggest companies in the world. We've even questioned even Microsoft's ability to monetize. We've certainly questioned their ability to grow at a multiple that's deserving. When they get their, not to pick on Microsoft, which I actually have nibbled at the last couple of days, but Azure decelerating, 365 decelerating. So these are things that I think are part of the story and the backdrop. The other side of this is a wonderful rotation that's going on across the rest of the market, and it's we talked about that industrial production number, that ISM. We talked about the dynamic that it's not just that they're value stocks that look more interesting relative to software names, but we truly are seeing, I think, an economic expansion in certain parts of the economy that for a long time had underperformed. So 52-week highs and lows across the board, more positive than negative today in terms of where this tape was. So no, I just think it's a breath. I think semis are making lower lows. I think a Broadcom hasn't touched the 200-day to the downside, going all the way back even a couple of years. You have to watch these things. That's why Carter's here. But I guess, I'm not surprised at the euphoria, but the violence of some of this rotation only is mirroring where we were on the way up in some of this stuff. I don't think it doesn't invalidate what's going on in AI.
I mean, we had continued strength in transports. Staples had a great day. Utilities had a great day in spite of this sort of, bleeding elsewhere.
So just a cliche, but it's a stock picker's market because of that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, the important risk here, I think, for the market is we know that the relationship between semiconductors and software companies is proved, right? They are linked structurally. And yet the relationship is asymmetric and cyclical short term. Long term, they're complementary. The risk to the market is that the euphoria that's in semis ultimately, the air comes out of that, because look what's happened to semis. We have a spread now. The SOX is down up some 20% for the year, practically 6 months, and software's down 20, 4,000 basis points. That's the real risk, that these complementary areas, ultimately, the hype, whether it could be precious metal or a Bitcoin or a semiconductor stock or software stocks, they were all loved. If the air comes out of that, because they are linked, the market cannot endure that.
Yeah, and I think maybe players are just tired of the same thing. Maybe the players are tired of the semi space. Now, semis are boom bust. We've talked about that, and they have not been bust in quite some time. So semis could be a valuation play where people want to move away from that. Softwares are a replacement play. Are they getting replaced by AI? By an expensive AI? How long can Capex stand to where Capex is right now? I think let's extend that out. How high can Capex really go to? It's not rhetorical. I'm asking a question.
I don't
have the number, but I hear you. Yeah. I think, again, it gets back to this story about companies that were generating free cash flow at will are no longer deserving of the same multiple if they're not. Carter's right. I mean, the thing you should be most concerned about is that semis are within 3% of all-time highs, and yet it feels like death out there. Now, in fact, most of the semis are rallying, and that's what I think is pretty interesting. I think it's some of the broader tech, too, that I think when people see a Netflix crack $80 and the move that's been an extraordinary move, and other parts of even non-Mag 7, it was a day where we're going to talk about some violent moves in some former kind of blue chip tech companies that aren't even anymore. But that's more, I think, what we're up against.